Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, depending on where you guys are at. Thank you guys so much for joining. Just one more second here while we get started, and we'll be ready to go here shortly. I'm just waiting for a few more folks as they're kind of trickling in. So thanks so much. Take care. Cool. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate the patience. I think some more are still filing in, but as they do, we can let them catch up. But thanks for joining, everybody. I know everyone's got some busy schedules out there, so we appreciate you joining today to learn a little bit more about SafetyHQ, which is the newest addition to the Foundation software family in a lot of ways, but excited to show you what it can do. And as always, feel free to reach out to us after this if you want a personalized demo, if you have some questions on how this would specifically fit for your business, because as we'll see once we get through SafetyHQ today, this is extremely customizable and is meant for a number of different types of organizations, especially regarding their safety programs. So don't hesitate to reach out, but we'll give you a nice little overview today and hopefully answer most of the questions. But if you guys do have any questions, feel free to send them over on the end. We'll try and get through as many as we can, depending on where we're at time-wise. But yeah, thanks again. Let's get rolling. Cool. So as we can see here, SafetyHQ is I'm on my laptop right now, but this is what's called a progressive web app. So we can download SafetyHQ onto our iPhone, Android, Samsung, any kind of tablet, really whatever mobile device the team is using out there in the field. Not an issue whatsoever. They can use this and track and manage all of their safety requirements pretty much wherever they're at. Since I mentioned wherever they're at, big piece to keep in mind here too, we do have an offline mode. So if you guys are doing any kind of work in a remote area that doesn't have particularly good cell service or internet or what have you, really easy to continue using all of our safety forms and features in here, and then easily sync back up once we get into an area that has some service as well. So just something to keep in mind when we're talking about keeping the team connected and keeping them using the application here. We'll probably actually just go right down the list and kind of give you a brief overview of a little bit of everything today. But like I said, there's so much more detail that we can get in. We're just scratching the surface here in this half hour or so. As you see here, I'm in the forms section of SafetyHQ. Fully customizable forms in here that we can utilize to match anything that you might have in your existing safety form portfolio, kind of making for an easier transition from some folks that might be used to paper forms that they've done the same way for a while. You know, we can incorporate a lot of those into digital forms here to make life easier, and at the same time too, we can maybe potentially improve on those forms or use some of the templates that we have in here already for the team as we go. Now, SafetyHQ is designed specifically for construction, for the trades and for the GCs. So when we're in here, a lot of the forms that we'll have created already, these are templates focused on construction too. So a pretty good head start for those of you that are kind of starting the safety program either from scratch or at the beginning stages. And again, if you have a pretty well-developed program and you like where things are at, easy for us to match that as well. Now, I'll just hit a few items in here as we go, but maybe I'll start with a JHA to kind of give you guys an example, since this is a fairly common use case here. Projects, first thing I do is select a project from my drop-down list. These projects, as well as the employees that you have in Foundation, your jobs and Foundation employees, will sync automatically using the Foundation API. So whenever you're in here, new projects, new employees, not a concern. That'll save you the dual entry in both systems. If we jump right into here, you can just utilize them right from your Foundation database. I have this JHA set up as a daily, but again, this could be customized as much as you need. The big focus on SafetyHQ is keeping people moving, keeping them focused on their safety activities, and making this easy to use. So the way we try and do that is eliminating extra steps, extra forms that aren't necessarily relevant to the tasks at hand. So in this case, we'll use an example. Let's just say we're doing some work that involves access and fall protection as potential hazard types. Once I select those, only the hazard types associated with those two are going to be shown here below. So really easy as far as keeping the team on track. If we're not doing some other additional work today, they're not going to have to go through pages and pages of forms that aren't relevant to the tasks that they're going to be doing today, or on the job site maybe for that week if we're doing this on a less frequent basis. So you'll notice I selected a couple items. I selected fall protection, access, all of those types of items. Once I've selected those, these controls will be related just to those items that we selected previously. So again, rather than showing them 10 to 15 pages worth of forms, we're really saving them time and effort and keeping them focused on the safety activities. So not only are they getting back to production tasks quicker, hopefully this will keep them focused on their safety related items and things to be mindful of on the site, because it's a lot less paperwork. Now we've selected the controls. These are some features that you're going to see pretty often throughout SafetyHQ. We have the signature piece. We can go ahead and select signatures of employees that were present for the site. Easy for us to go ahead and put these items and signatures on here. And again, tie that to employee records. So that way, for those of us or those of your employees that don't have particularly strong handwriting or legible signatures, that would include myself, you can go ahead and tie that right to an employee here so that you can take the guesswork out of that piece as well. Also, because they're using this on a mobile device, they could snap a quick photo of a particular site. Again, I'm on my laptop, so I'm just going to be using some stock photos here as well. But if they need to take a photo of a particular hazard, some particular items that they want to point out to the crew today, or maybe mark for some record keeping, not a problem. We can easily go ahead and snap the photo, include it on the site, and also mark that up pretty quickly as well. So I'm just kind of taking an example here. Looks like maybe in the trench, I don't know, maybe we're missing a trench box or what have you. But you can see here, really easy to mark this up, add it, and include it onto the record if we need. And it's as simple as that. That JHA is completed, and they are back to business on whatever else they might have to do that day. Now, as far as actually accessing this JHA and reviewing it, if you need to go back and capture it at some other point in time, that's not a problem either. For all of our forms, we can easily sort and filter by any of these items that we see here on the side. So if maybe a particular customer or a GC or what have you asks for information on a project, maybe you have to submit it with your invoicing, not a problem. Select it by project. Narrow down the field from there, and you can select one or multiple JHAs. This is the one that we just completed right here, I believe. Yep. You can see this is a quick reference copy, but if we did want to submit those for maybe some billing, or if we had to submit them to insurance or what have you, we can select those, download those, PDF them, and email them off if we need to as well. So I'll pull that up right here. And here's a better looking copy for you to share with whoever may need it. Now you'll see up here, harness the previous name of SafetyHQ, but we can replace that with anything that you might need. That would be your name and logo up here, give it a nice personalized touch. And then as we go through, we can see all those photos and signatures and all those other pieces included as well. So really easy to grab those. And again, that'll work throughout these, whether that's equipment inspections, whether that's safety inspections or safety evaluations or what have you. Really easy to go through and manage those items. So I'll go ahead, and since we mentioned the safety inspections or safety evaluations, let's go ahead and do that as an example as well. I select the project. Again, going to auto-populate a lot of this information to save them time and effort. We can go ahead and, again, this is a completely customized form. I have two options on this one. These are some pretty generic health and safety questions. I can go through my process. The example I always use is, let's just say the first aid kit's not on site. That one's pretty easy and universal. It's not on site, not a problem. We can go ahead and add a corrective action. It will suggest the deficiency, suggest the action taken. We can always replace or type in items in here as well if we want to customize that. Voice to text is also an option on the app too. So if you want to save the time and effort, that voice to text will certainly save some time for the team as well. Select the severity. We'll go ahead and say that this is a medium severity. Assign this to Paul to complete. Steve's going to make sure that gets done. We can include a photo just like we did on the previous selection as well. And I'm going to go ahead and assign that to be completed by, let's say, tomorrow. Before we step on that site tomorrow, we want to make sure that that item is completed. Perfect. I go back to my safety evaluation. That's been assigned out. We'll go in a second and see where that goes, but that's been assigned out to another team member to complete, and I can carry on with my inspection as I go. Now, another good thing to keep in mind with these inspections is these are extremely they're extremely focused on the task we have at hand. If we select a couple of items, great. If maybe we have some other items, I'll pick like maybe excavation for an example. And here, there's certain questions that might require additional information. Hey, in this case, if required shielding or shoring is installed, yes, I select yes. Now it's going to ask an additional question. So again, we can keep those forms from being 10 to 12 pages and a lot of focus that might take them away from the actual inputs that they're putting on there, and keep them focused as we go. And again, too, as you mentioned, we can select the form language. We can set up a primary language for English or Spanish users in here, or we can translate forms as we go if we need for communicating between two employees of different languages on the site as well. And just as we did on that JHA, we can select multiple items in here. We can sort and filter, and then we can PDF and share those if we need also. So really easy to use. But let's go ahead and take a look what would happen for that corrective action. If you remember, we were missing a first aid kit on the site. Not a problem. We can see all of our outstanding items. We can review and see what needs to be completed. We can see it by severity, by project, who's assigned to complete it. You name it, we can review all of our outstanding safety deficiencies. At the same time, we'll get some automated reporting in here that we can use as a whole, so we can improve our safety process as we go. You can see our deficiencies over time, by severity, different types of deficiencies, and then when we get into this, we can even sort this by project, by foreman, by who this is assigned to, or what have you. So a lot of options when it comes to this as well. Again, automated reporting to keep you on task and save you time and effort when you're reviewing some of the safety information. Now, I won't go through all of these forms today, but a couple to point out for you, especially when we get into equipment inspection and vehicle-related items. Easy to track and manage vehicle inspection logs and history of those items. Again, sort, filter options are all very similar. But we do have some really cool things that we can do, especially when it comes to routing. If we mark a particular piece of equipment or a component as being unsafe, we can prompt an automatic notification to be sent to whomever. Maybe that's somebody at the shop, maybe that's the safety team. Anytime we mark one of those things, mark it as unsafe, great, automatic notification out and on its way. So I see that most common with our equipment piece, but we can incorporate that into a number of these forms as well. And again, any component that you see, whether it be photos or signatures, we can tie that into maybe say an equipment inspection or what have you as well. We can go ahead and even too, this accident report's a good example of how these forms collapse and expand. Maybe there is a property damage, we don't need any more information. Vehicle related incident, well, in that case, we want to get some more information on those vehicles. Another vehicle was involved, okay. We're going to need to definitely collect some information on those other vehicles that were involved as well here too. Choosing what we want to require or not require on any one of these forms, also extremely flexible. So that's a brief introduction on forms. But again, if you don't see something on here and there's something that you guys use, not a problem, we can include it. If you like our forms, but you want to make a couple of tweaks, not an issue whatsoever. And the best part about all this is it's included in your subscription. So you might say, yeah, all those customizations, but I'm sure it costs a lot of money. Nope, that's included in the subscription as we go. Not only on the implementation, but down the line, if you need to update a form, you just let us know and we will update that and customize it for you as we go. So we'll take a quick break from the form piece for right now and work our way over to Toolbox Talks. We have about 130, 150 in here that you guys can utilize. Really easy to navigate the library. but we understand a lot of people have their own toolbox talks that they like as well, or maybe some specific to maybe say their trade or the type of job they're working on. Not a problem at all. You can easily add toolbox talks in to expand your library. And also, let's go ahead and just select one of these as a whole. Whether you're doing this on an individual basis and you want all of your employees reviewing and signing off that they completed a toolbox talk, or if you want, maybe say a foreman or a site supervisor to perform a toolbox talk to a small group, we can accommodate both options. They can select their own toolbox talks and conduct them right away. Or from an admin perspective, if we would like, we can go ahead and schedule these out in advance. So, or assign them immediately if you'd like. So I'll go ahead and say, I want to send this to my foreman. Again, I can send this to them right away. I can schedule this out and say, hey, you know what? I want to complete this toolbox talk on a given day in the future. I can select my date and time in which they're going to receive that notification, and you don't have to worry about it. Schedule your toolbox talks for the month, for the year, for the upcoming week, what have you. It's already taken care of. Really makes your life easier as far as assigning these out if that's the route that you want to go. I'll go ahead and schedule that out. Not a problem. Easy to manage. Now that will go out through a notification either here in the application where they'll get a notification of the new toolbox talks. There's also notifications via email and text message throughout the system as well. You're not required to use all of them. You can use one of them, two of them, three of them, really up to you and however your team works best. So let's take another example. We'll go back to maybe that safe setup of heavy equipment. Easy to search and filter this as we go. I'd like to point out that translate option again, if we need to. Boom, we can translate that on the spot, or again, we can set up the language preference when we set up the employee. Also, as we continue working through this, I want to maybe actually conduct that talk now, not a problem. I select the project. Again, we can remove this if needed. If you guys don't do this on a project basis, maybe you guys are doing your toolbox talks as a whole team prior to the folks heading out to their projects. Not an issue. We can update that as well. And you'll see this familiar signature area as well, where we can include names and signatures of all of our attendees for some good record keeping. Additionally, we have options to take a photo. If you have a sign-in sheet that you really like, that's easier for you, great. Snap a photo of the sign-in sheet. We can include that. Or maybe you just want to take a photo of the whole group because it's a larger group. That's not an issue whatsoever either. We can go ahead and do that as well. So reviewing these toolbox talks, this will be very similar to what I showed you guys on the JHA. We can go in and see these completed toolbox talks and any photos or what have you. We can PDF these and share them with whomever needs them, sort and filter as needed also. So this all works very, very similarly. The one thing I did not show you guys at the JHA level or the inspection level is the compliance reporting. Now I show you this with the toolbox talks because this seems like the place where it gets used most often. And this is definitely one of our most popular features here. It is extremely customizable in that we can select a different rule for maybe a different role on the company. If it's administrators, foremen, site supers, what have you, we can select it, maybe once per week, once per day, once every 2 weeks, whatever it really comes down to. We select a rule for how frequently we want the given form, in this case, a toolbox talk, to be completed. Now, I got a lot of test data in here, so my team not doing very good. But I can see completed toolbox talks by submission date. I can also go ahead and notify folks that haven't met the rule. So Tom has 0 entries. He's missed all 4. We're looking at the date range of 4 weeks. We want to give Tom a notification. We can do that right here. We can notify multiple people, or we can notify anybody who has not met that rule. Easily select that notification right here. And again, that would work very similar to actually signing those toolbox talks, email, in-app notification, all of those options as well. If they need a little bit more of a nudge, as I like to say, you can include one or multiple managers in here. And again, you have predictive typing so that it'll suggest what it is. I'll go ahead and include myself, not a problem. Great, one or multiple managers are also notified. And then you have nice graphics here to show as well on how the submissions have been coming throughout the year, especially if you're using this for an incentive program or what have you. Really easy for us to pull all these pieces together, track, manage, and kind of take the headache out of toolbox talks for you. Now, again, I'm showing you this from a toolbox talk perspective. But maybe, your toolbox talks you want done weekly, or maybe equipment inspections you want done monthly, not a problem. We can have different rules, different setups for each different form. Maybe this is a daily for the JHAs, what have you. So you can see how this is flexible, and we see this used all the time. Definitely one of our most popular features to keep the team on track for toolbox talks and save a whole bunch of the administrative headaches for you. We'll keep moving along here from the toolbox talk side. We have options from the SDS as well. So, hopefully replacing that large binder that you got on site. We have a couple 100,000 in here already. If there is a manufacturer or a product that you don't see, let us know. We'll contact that manufacturer. We'll source that piece of information for you as far as an SDS goes. We'll pull it in the system, and you can have access to it within as little as a day. Give us maybe a day or two if needed, but pretty quick we can go ahead and update that library with an SDS that you may need. We have QR codes if needed as well, your last source date. And some people ask me, well, this is a pretty large database. Can we pare it down, what have you? This is a universal search that is responsive on anything I guess. So I'll go ahead and say, caulk, great. Maybe I just have CA, it'll be limited. I can use product code. I'm just typing in some numbers here at random. It just seems that we got some products. You can even do by manufacturer if you'd like to. So really easy to navigate this database for the team for whatever piece of, whatever safety data sheet that they need to grab. Additionally, we have some really nice options as far as managing lessons and certifications for your teams. Oftentimes we'll see our lessons module, which is really a light LMS. People use this for onboarding. It's a great tool if you got a new employee coming on and you want to put them through some individual trainings, or maybe suggest certain items or documents that they need to fill out as part of the training process, or maybe you just want to update them on some of your policies and procedures. All of those are fully customizable. Again, we can go through, in this example, we got maybe a hazard communication training that we're providing for our team. You can see this is really detailed. We can go ahead and add videos, whatever we want to add in on these lessons. Not a problem whatsoever. Assign these out just like Toolbox talks to whoever may need them. The two big differences, though, is we can require them to take a quiz at the end, again, with whatever grading scale that you prefer, or we can also manage this in the certifications area. So once they've completed that hazard communication or whatever lesson that they have in there, we can track and manage that along with all of our other certifications that might be done by third parties, or maybe that employees have brought with them from previous employment, or they've gotten certified in other areas. Great. We can pull that all into one place, manage and track what's going to be expiring in the near future, so we can help the team stay on top of their certifications, track items by particular training type. Again, customizable list that's pretty flexible. And additionally, we can go ahead and mark and add actual photos of those certifications too. So I'll use this OSHA 10 as an example. Tom's got his card right on here, not a problem. That's right on his record, easy to access. Now I've showed you guys that from like a company-wide perspective. Really easy to go on an employee level too. I'll select Tom. I'll go ahead and take a look at all the certifications right here. If I need to share or present this with somebody as well, email, QR code, what have you. And then we also can put your name and logo up here and present a nice little training certificate for the employee as a whole here also. So some really nice options to help you track and manage certifications either by the employee or for your team as a whole in the software. So nice and easy to manage those. Some other fun options that we have here too, if we get into like the project side, we can see a lot of items by project. We can include important information like hospital address or what have you. We can also include documents. Site-specific safety plans are a common add here. Maybe it's a lift or an instruction manual or what have you. Not a problem. We can include whatever documents that you really need. And again, we can also tie those pieces of equipment to here, just like I showed you kind of previously on the equipment inspection and the management of those items as well. If we keep going, we will go ahead and select maybe, we'll go ahead and actually, since we're talking about documents on the item, this is a wide open area for us to manage here as well. So if we want to go ahead and include maybe our safety manual, maybe some other documents that you want readily accessible to the team, not a problem. Put those all in here. The team can access these at any point, so it's easy to track and manage. You don't have to worry about, you know, did they get the most updated form or what have you. You can manage it all through this document library here, which is extremely customizable. From there, we also have some nice options when we really dig into equipment. I kind of showed you a brief demo of it before, but we can tie particular pieces of equipment together, suggest additional actions. Maybe if we've done an inspection on a truck, maybe we want to encourage somebody to also do an inspection of a trailer that's attached or linked to it. Cool, we can do that. We can also sort and manage by tags, by overdue dates, whatever we really need here as a whole. A lot of options. And again, we still have those photos and signature options throughout the equipment inspection and management process as well. And last but not least, at least for this demo, we do have a lot in the way of incident reporting. So I mentioned in a couple other areas, and there's more areas that we can do it in as far as automatic routing and notifications. But the place that comes up in the most is this incident reporting area as well. So I'll use an example here. This is Dylan's incident on 10/16 or on 10/6. We can track injury, near miss, whatever it is. Easy for us to do. This is intended to be filled out by somebody who's on the site, right? Somebody who's one of the first people to the scene or who observed this or what have you. They're filling out this initial incident report to collect the information that we need, maybe some photos, what have you. As soon as they submit this form, again, we can trigger a notification to whomever it may be, the HR team, the safety team, the ownership team, whoever, and multiple people if we want. And that will encourage them to fill out that next step in the process. Let's grab that additional information, which maybe isn't the best, the best set of questions to ask the foreman, whoever's on the site. This is where we might be collecting some hospital information, some other information needed to complete the report. No issue whatsoever. And again, once I submit that additional information report, we get another set of routing and notifications to prompt the root cause incident report as well. So if we want to jump into here, we can go ahead and take a peek at, why this has actually occurred, do the detective work, encourage the team as a whole to really do a deep dive and prevent some of these issues going forward. So routed throughout the whole process, and although it's 3 different forms, it all ties into one report here. So if we ever need to review this in the future, we can do this again by any of the sort and filter options that we have. Great, we can go ahead and do that. And then additionally, if we want to go get some automatic reporting here as well, we can. We have all these items here. And this will also populate your OSHA 300 COMMARSH as well. So based on what you mentioned is reportable or what have you. And again, this can be sorted and filtered by project, worker involved, whatever you might need. So quite a bit in here. And again, especially with forms, there is so much that we could really get into. But it's hard to show it all in one quick period, but try to keep it to a quick half hour for those of you that are on a lunch break or taking some time in the middle of the day to review this. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. This would be a good time for this. But I know a lot of these questions are specific to how you guys do business and what you want there. So if you'd like, definitely reach out. We'll be sending out an email after this. You can also reach out to me individually. My name's Eric over here at Foundation Software Safety HQ. I can be reached at EDV Echo Delta Victor at foundationsoft.com. Just shoot me an email. I'd be happy to set up a demo, or you can go on our website and schedule an additional demo from there if you got some specific questions for you and your team. Now, finally, the last thing that I'll mention too is pricing. We make this really convenient for you. I know construction is a high turnover industry. We don't want to have to deal with the back and forth of adding licenses and removing licenses and so forth. We give you a comprehensive pricing on a monthly basis for your team based on your head count. So you get unlimited licenses from there. So if you add or remove employees, you don't have to worry about changing your subscription or anything like that. However many roles that you need, if you want certain people to access certain pieces of the software, not an issue whatsoever. Those are all included, no additional cost for any of those items as well. Setup is also extremely easy. Typically, we're up and running within a month, a couple hours a week. We're doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the back end for you to get you up and rolling. But obviously, we're going to check in with you maybe once or twice a week, really briefly to see how we're doing as far as some of the builds and training you how to use this software. But again, really easy to use. It's user focused, so adoption is one of our strongest elements here, especially for crews that might be not as tech savvy. Not an issue. That is right within our wheelhouse too. So it looks like actually a couple of questions that I got, I think I just answered them unintentionally, but if you guys have any other questions, maybe drop them in now. But I know we're coming right up to the half hour, so we might be able to sneak some of those in. But yeah, if you have any additional questions, certainly let me know. We can go from there. Yeah, and I see some folks have their hands raised as well. If you have a question, drop it into that question box so I can take a look at it as well. That might be the easiest place for me to review it. Oh, cool. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. I certainly appreciate the time today. I'm excited to show you SafetyHQ. Again, I mentioned the integration between the jobs and projects, the employees and workers between your foundation database. Equipment's coming in early 2023 as well as far as that integration, and a lot more to come. Integration is definitely a focus for us to save you that time and effort as we continue going. So let us know if you have any questions. Be happy to connect with you in the future. So definitely reach out. But thanks for your time, and you guys have a great day. Take care.